of you guys ever seen one of these bad things for real? We burned almost every physical book in the country. So by the time you guys grow up, there won't be one book left.
Burn it.
What's wrong, Montag? Your vitals have been off recently.
Did firemen used to put out fires?
That's a classic lie. Have you used your drops today?
I want to know why we burn. We are not born equal. We must be made equal by the fire. And then we can be happy. I got things inside my head that don't make sense. Dreams that I can't explain. Read. Before the men come back, do you want to know what's inside these books? Insanity.
They're lying to you.
What aren't you telling me?
You never do anything. You're just like Beatty.
I'm not like Beatty.
We have an important task for you.
If anybody sees me, I'm dead.
The danger is real and immediate. We need to get ahead of it.
What if I tell these people what you do? Words are a terror, son, I know. Knowledge is a dangerous thing.
All right, Shalom. It's Brother Kushab coming back at you another lesson. Before I get started, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruach HaKodesh. Give honors once again to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who taught me this truth and rule well, and peace, blessings, and salutations be unto the hopefully elect, as well as those that believe in the gospel, and may you endure to the end, Lord willing. All right. And it's coming back with another lesson, right? Just pretty much, it's gonna be a movie review, all right, on the movie Fahrenheit 451. Okay, I don't know if brothers actually seen this movie before, you know, but it just came across my desk, all right. You know, as the saying goes, you know, with it's basically, you know, as you saw the clip, all right, which they were burning all of the books, all right, and as you saw the one guy who perceived to be an Edomite say, you know, knowledge is power, all right. Well, there's an actual historical account that we're going to get into that this actually happened, all right, during the times, I believe, under the Greek, all right, under the Greek Empire or the Greco-Roman Empire, all right, at a time where this actually happened, all right. And now, you know, that's why we say, you know, not we, but, you know, that's why our brothers say, you know, at some point, all right, especially, you know, the brother Kaya, he always say, at some point, you know, you gonna have to become the Bible, all right? And the Bible will be outlawed, man, all right? Especially, you know, what people use it for, all right, the Christian standpoint, all right, even a standpoint from us, all right, as we preach the truth of the Bible, all right, it will be outlawed, all right? And you know, this movie is a foreshadowing, ultimately, of what's to come, all right? Now, it came out in 2018, all right, and it's actually a book, all right. And what's crazy is, you know, I believe this was high school. We had to read this book and do like an assignment, all right, an essay on it, on this book in particular, you know. And you know, who would have thought, you know, that this, you know, would come back around full circle, you know, which we thought it was all a, you know, a stupid book, you know. But it's actually, when you look at things with a spiritual lens, it's actually a foreshadowing of what's to come, all right? Especially when it comes to the persecution of the prophets, man. And Esau, Edom getting ready to establish this dystopian society, all right? Now, let's start with that word, dystopian, all right? Dystopian society. All right. Now it says, an imagined state or society in which there is a great suffering or injustice, typically one that is totalitarian, all right, or post-apocalyptic, all right. What is a dystopian society? It says, an imagined world or society in which people live wretched, dehumanized, fearful lives, all right. And that's, you know, what Esau Edom is trying to establish, all right, starting with the elites, okay, trying to establish here, all right, on the planet Earth, all right, a dystopian society where people live fearful lives, which is why you have these things such as a social credit system, all right, that they want to set up. You have the MOTB, which is the RFID micro chip, all right. You have, what is it called? Digital surveillance systems, all right, these flock systems, okay. Down here in New Orleans, they got something called Know the Troop, man, all right, which is why you have these phones. Everything has a chip in it, okay. TVs, everything has a camera in it, all right. This devil wants to watch, all right, record, okay, and see everything that you do, okay. And in this movie, they had established, you know, this actual, basically, it seemed as if the MOTB, all right, was fully implemented, you know. And those who wasn't down with the system, you know, they was basically on the run, all right. And these people would kick down doors, all right, and find whoever was there, all right. And it was basically a what you call it? You were breaking the law, all right, if you were found reading books, all right, or reading you know, reading books or reading, period, you know, because they said that it changed the way that people thought in this society. You see, they didn't want a nation of thinkers, they wanted a nation of doers, all right, as the famous quote goes. You know, I forget exactly who said it, but, you know, like I said, man, it's a very spiritual movie. You know, if brothers haven't, I definitely recommend you check it out, you know. But let me get this. I just bookmarked a few scriptures as I watched it, and I was like, man, I got to do a lesson on this. All right, so this first Maccabees chapter 1, verse 56, it says, and when they had rent in pieces the books of the law which they found, they burned them with fire. All right, which was during the, you know, first Maccabees was during who? The reign, I believe this was during the time of Antiochus Epiphanes. All right, and I can hear the brother saying this right now. All right, get ready for them to burn the Bibles. And what are you going to do when they actually burn the Bibles, man? All right? What are you going to do? If you don't have the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, all right, the remembrance of the scriptures, all right, in your mind, you know? That's why it's so important to be diligent right now, okay? Because the time is coming where you ain't going to be able to be diligent. You're just going to have it in you. You see? What was I at? First Maccabees 1 and 56. I just wanted to see what it said in the GNT. All right. Yep. It says, any books of the law which were found were torn up and burned. All right. And they're getting ready to do this again. All right. They getting ready to abolish the Bible app on your phone. Okay. As well as the actual books, man. They're going to burn the Bibles, man. All right, which is why they come out with these books. I mean, these movies. Who comes up with a movie or writes a book about them burning books? All right. What's the spiritual significance of that? You know, it says, verse 57, and anyone who was caught with a copy of the sacred books or who obeyed the law was put to death by order of the king. You see, these are the times that we're coming into. All right. With everything being set ablaze, all right, World War III, the MOTB, these last prophecies coming to pass, well, you can't forget persecution, all right, of the Bible and the prophets is a part of that, man. You see? It says month after month, these wicked people use their power against the Israelites caught in the towns, all right? And that's what they're going to do. It says they're not going to leave any stones unturned, roughly paraphrasing. I know it said in Luke, man. You know, they're not gonna spare ye pity, all right? Nobody, man. You know. But this is what the actual movie, you know, I'm sitting there watching, I'm like, bro, it's crazy because this is what they want to do, you know. through something that we know of called revelation of the method. They feel like if we told you this in a movie, that's us telling you that this is going to happen, right? So you go to 2nd Esdras, the 14th chapter, okay? I just got a couple more through the spirit, Lord will. I remember I didn't get a chance to bookmark. All right, I just wanted to do this while I was on my spirit. This 2nd Esdras 14 and 40, all right? And look, 1440, man, beautiful, all right? Because the elect, they're going to have this the spirit of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai to have their memory strengthened so that they retain everything that's written in the scriptures, okay? Knowing the accounts, all right, the stories of old, okay, so it can keep us motivated, right? And not lose faith, man. You know, with this 2nd Esdras 14, verse 40, it says, "And I took it and drank, and when I had drunk of it, my heart uttered understanding, and wisdom grew in my breast, for my spirit strengthened my memory." You see? And my mouth was open and shut no more, right? Which this is metaphorically speaking of, you know, having the laws, the statutes and commandments, right? And actually, Salakia. All right, it says, I'm gonna read it again. It says, "And I took and drank, and when I had drunk of it," all right, which is talking about the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. All right, wisdom, okay, understanding, knowledge, all right. My heart uttered wisdom, you see? Salakia, my heart uttered understanding, and wisdom grew in my breast, for my spirit strengthened my memory. You see, and that's what we're totally going to have to rely on in the times to come, all right? The spirit, okay? We have to rely on the spirit now, all right? That's strengthening our memory, man. You see? So what? We're going to have to rely on it much more when the persecution is coming, all right? When the persecution is here. You see? As Yahweh Shai said, they hated me, therefore they're going to hate you, man. You know? But let's go to the book of Galatians, okay? Because it was something that this devil said in the movie, that knowledge is power, all right? And reading these books corrupts your way of thinking, all right? Because we know that the Bible is clean contrary to the ways of Esau Edom in the ways that he thinks. You see? Let's get that, matter of fact, in Wisdom of Solomon, the 2nd chapter, okay? Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2. Really can start up a lot more, you know, but I'm gonna just get the point in 12. It says, "Therefore let us lie in wait for the righteous, because he is not for our turn, and he is clean contrary to our doing." You see, Israel, all right, is clean contrary to the doings of the heathen, all right, chiefly starting on Esau Edom, all right, because that's who is speaking here, all right. It's talking about the Edomites, so-called white people. It says, "Because he is not for our turn, and he is clean contrary to our doings. He upbraided us with our offending the law, and objected to our infamy, the transgressions of our education." You see that? So this devil is offended, right, by being rebuked by the prophets, man. You see that? He doesn't like that. You see it? So it's going to come a point where he's trying to establish his dystopian society where he's just going to totally X off these men, all right, these believers in the actual book that they believe in. You see? Why would he do that if he wrote the Bible? You know? Let's see what it says in the GNT. All right? Salakia, if I'm getting a little excited, you know, it's just a real heavy movie, man. That's shit, right? Wisdom of Solomon 2. Is that 12? It says, "Righteous people are nothing but a nuisance. So let's look for chances to get rid of them. They are against what we do. They accuse us of breaking the law of Moses and violating the traditions of our ancestors. They claim to know the Most High, and they call themselves the Lord's children. We can't stand the sight of people like that. What they are contradicts our whole way of thinking." You see that? And that's what the innermost thoughts of these Edomites, all right, your enemies, Okay, think that's their innermost thoughts, man. Okay, but let's go to Galatians, the 4th chapter and the 16th verse, I believe. Right, this Galatians chapter 4 verse 16. It says, "Am I therefore become your enemy because I tell you the truth?" You see, and we have become a public enemy number one, all for the sake of telling the truth. All right, speaking righteousness. All right, it says they hated him that rebuked in the gate, man. I believe that's Amos 5. Let's see if I can get it real quick. So it's going to come a point in time where this hate is going to turn physical. They're going to take the Bibles, all right, burn them, rip them up as they did once before. Yep, this Amos chapter 5 verse 10. It says they hate him that rebuke it in the gate, and they abhor him that speak it uprightly. You see? They despise the people that tell us that's telling the truth. Okay, they despise the men of the Lord. All right, the reputation that the prophets had back in the times, the ancient times of old, during the time of King Saul, King David, King Solomon. All right, that reputation is no more, right? Because at a point in time, the prophets had a reputation. They had respect. They had reverence. You see, which is, I believe it was the prophet Nathan. You know, when they asked if he was, what did it say? Comest thou peaceable? You know, roughly paraphrasing. Because they saw that the prophet was approaching. They was like, oh shit. You know, because they knew that those men carried the message of the Lord. But that reverence, all right, that respect is far gone. You see? So that's why the Lord is going to get ready to declare his name within the earth through judgment, man. Because the world has lost respect for Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. All right? But that's pretty much it, you know. I just want to, let me end it off as 2 Esdras 5, all right? Because all right, the scriptures is getting ready to hide itself, man. All right, as it says in Amos 8 and 9, you know, that is going to be a famine of the word, you know. What I just quoted, 2 Esdras. I think it's 20. No, it's in the top. Yep, this 2 Esdras chapter 5 verse 9. It says, "And salt water shall be found in the sweet, and all friends shall destroy one another. Then shall wit hide itself." What is wit? It's the scriptures, all right? The witty men are going to hide themselves. The men that's dwelling with the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. You see? Who are going to be who? The true prophets, man. The true teachers, man. All right? Those that have been telling you what's getting ready to happen beforehand. All right? During the times when they're going to burn the books. All right? When they're going to be persecuting us, man. You see? It tells you that in Proverbs. You know? A righteous man foreseeth the evil, so he hideth himself. You know? And that's exactly what the Lord is going to allow this man to do. Okay? It says, "And understanding shall withdraw itself into his secret chamber, and shall be sought of many, and yet not be found." You see? "Then shall unrighteousness, and incontinency be multiplied upon earth." You know? So, but that's all I got. I wanted to bring something out, right? This is basically an excerpt, all right, of the overview of the movie. It says Fahrenheit 451 is a dystopian novel about Guy Montag, a fireman, all right, in which this guy, you know, is played by Michael B. Jordan, as you can see, right? But, you know, he was a part of, you know, basically burning the books. But he posed the question, basically figuring out, like, what are we actually doing, you know? We're enforcing this dystopian society, and the people who actually have the knowledge and power hiding themselves, basically, right? It says, in a future society where books are banned and burned to control thought and ensure conformity, but he becomes disillusioned and starts reading forbidden books and joins a group memorizing literature to preserve knowledge as the city is destroyed, symbolizing rebirth. The story explores censorship, mass media, and the struggle between mindless entertainment and genuine intellectual freedom through Montag's transformation from an obedient book burner to a guardian of literature, right? And what shows you, when you look at it with a spiritual lens, the power that the Lord can change a man, you know, in his own, right? Just a little bit off topic, but that shows you the true power of the Lord, you know? But, you know, that's pretty much the point, you know? Excuse me. You know, I just wanted to get that off, you know, very spiritual movie. You know, it's a good read. Not a good read, but it's a good watch, you know, to get your mind prepared for the things ahead, you know? So with that, man, I'm going to go ahead and give all praises, glory, infinite honors unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruchak Wadash, and double honors once again to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace, blessings, and salutations be to the hopefully elect. To the next time, I say